Well, The Witcher show can be considered officially over. The third, rather defining season has come to an end. Henry Cavill, who was responsible for 90% of the popularity of this Netflix creation, left the project. And I don't believe that Liam Hemsworth will be able to replace him and perform at the same level, because Cavill was one of the few bright spots during all 3 seasons of this show. Some other important characters died. The shooting of the show was postponed. The budgets will be lower. In short, all the popularity of Netflix's The Witcher is melting away and will disappear like dew at dawn. I am sincerely happy about this. I've said many times that I consider the whole show a terrible twisted parody of the books, and I haven't changed my mind. But at the end of the 3rd season, I have no negative emotions. I think I will even miss all the cringe, all the facepalm moments, and all the scripted madness of Lauren Hissrich's creation. A creation whose 3rd season wasn't so terrible. In my review of the first part of the 3rd season of The Witcher, I said that this season remains bad, but it is at least better than the first 2 seasons. And after watching the last 3 episodes, I haven't changed my mind. The Thanet coup, Ciri in the desert, the Rats gang, Geralt's battle with Vilgefortz, Roquelain, I liked all of that. However, Netflix's The Witcher will always be Netflix's The Witcher, and that's why even in the good last episodes of the 3rd season, the creators of the show managed to slip in a bunch of stupid, funny, or absurd moments. Let's take a look at all of them, because this is the old Witcher channel right here. We already have more than 1,000 subscribers, and we thank everyone who watches our videos, clicks the subscribe button, and writes comments. It is very important, and it inspires us to work. Thank you guys. Well, stock up on some goodies, because the old Witcher is going to tell you why the last 3 episodes of The Witcher's 3rd season are good, and why the same 3 episodes are incredibly terrible. The good things. Let us divide this video into 3 sections. We'll start off with the good things, then we'll move on to the bad ones, ending with a discussion of what the future may hold for Netflix's The Witcher. So, the good things. The last episodes of the 3rd season of The Witcher did not disappoint. There were many non-canonical moments in them, but the book's main line was mostly preserved. Vilgefortz turned out to be Emperor Emhyr's henchman and betrayed the chapter of wizards. Geralt broke Dijkstra's leg, Ciri defeated Cahir in battle, and then entered the desert through the portal of Tor Lara Tower. Triss saved Geralt's life. There was a great battle between Vilgefortz and the Witcher, and all these things happened in just 1/6 episode. Speaking of the battles, I must admit that they are well staged and look impressive. Geralt's duel with Vilgefortz, where the sorcerer finally proved himself as a normal powerful villain and beat the shit out of the White Wolf. The fight with the Rats gang in episode 8, Geralt's fight with the Nilfgaardians in the same 8th episode. It was all very dynamic, bloody and beautiful. The stagers are to be commended, and the actors as well. I also liked the Roquelain droids. In the first season they were shown as some kind of wild Amazons or something. It was pathetic. Here, they really look like mystical and very strange magical creatures. They are definitely not shown human. Ciri's story in the desert turned out to be quite interesting. Her renunciation of magic was not explained by some bullshit, as Netflix usually does, but instead the character was brought to this decision with the help of the book plot. I also like the acting. The characters really try and give their best. Of course, the showrunners often put them in some idiotic plot twists, but the actors do try to drive even the most outright cringe-worthy storylines with emotions, like the unhealthy maternal love that Geralt of Rivia feels for Yennefer. The show finally has some dynamics. There is development and connection between the characters. Now, when Ciri runs to Yennefer with tears in her eyes, we understand what these characters mean to each other, not like in the first season, where the scene of Geralt and Ciri's reunion was made as awkward as possible. Yennefer finally doesn't run around with an axe like in the 2nd season, but casts spells. The same goes for other powerful wizards and sorceresses. Yes, some characters are outright flushed down the toilet, such as Artorius Vigo, but others find a rather logical ending, such as Stregobor. Vilgefortz finally begins to vaguely resemble something like a powerful enemy. Still, this Netflix character does not inspire any fear or awe, but at least he finally appears to be powerful. The storyline of Dijkstra and Philippa is still as cool as ever. They act, they achieve their goals, and even when they fail, they still come out of it even stronger, gaining even more power. Long story short, it's like I'm watching the plot recovery of a hopelessly ill patient. In the first 2 seasons, he was at death's door from the point of view of the common sense of the script. But now, in the 3rd season, the plot is showing some signs of life. It has characters and lines that are intriguing and attention-grabbing, that are developing normally. They are not frequent guests on the screen, but they're present. The bad things. But I'm praising the last 3 episodes too much. Don't you think so? Because as always with Lauren Hisrich's work, you might as well look for something good with a microscope while being bombarded with outright pieces of shit. Look, the situation here is the same as in the first 5 episodes. If we are shown or given something good, like the connection between Ciri and Yennefer, it means that the writers took this plot from the books. If there is some ridiculous trash on the screen, then Netflix definitely came up with it. Take Tissaia de Vries. It's just some absolute bullshit. So you guys invented this whole stupid storyline about her and Vilgefortz, about their love, just so that Tissaia could break the protective spell on Arethusa's castle. And so that when Vilgefortz left, she wouldn't even try to hurt him in any way? The bullshit is over the top. You've turned the proud and powerful ruler of Arethusa into a woman destroyed by unhappy love and the scum of a man who used her. It's gorgeous. Only Netflix knows how to make a laughingstock out of a cool character, because it was them who came up with the storyline. The books never had it. And what about Tissaia's maternal love for Yennefer? Was it really necessary? What was the reason for it? What made Yennefer even a little bit better than the girls she studied magic with in the same class? Where did these feelings come from? They just appeared out of nowhere. That's it. Poor Tissaia has no one to love. She misses Vilgefortz. And so Tissaia de Vries commits suicide, just as it was in the books. In fact, she doesn't do it because the chapter of wizards, the work of her life, got destroyed. No, she does it because her beloved Vilgefortz turned out to be an asshole and betrayed the poor woman, and the girls who disappeared from Arethusa, whom she didn't even try to find, were kidnapped by Vilgefortz and experimented on. I'm sorry, but there's not even a whiff of strength or pride here. Oh, and Tissaia's hair turned gray because she used a spell that was too strong. A powerful sorceress, isn't she? She didn't even kill anyone important with that super spell. But she looked like a relative of Ciri's. Another story that was added purely by Netflix writers is the story of the elf Francesca Findabair and her husband Filavandrel. This story is so heartbreaking that when Filavandrel was torn to pieces and Francesca was covered in blood, I started laughing my ass off because it was real funny. It reminded me of Tarantino and his Inglourious Bastards. There, a heroine named Domergue was also covered in her brother's blood, and that also did not evoke any sympathy. In The Witcher, this even aroused the anger of Francesca, who, together with the elves, acts strictly on the orders of Emperor Emhyr, but not for long. For some reason, they continued the absolutely ridiculous line of Fringilla Vigo, whose reason for still being in the show remains unclear. She wants exactly what? To overthrow Emhyr? To help the elves? If this happens and Fringilla ends up killing the Emperor of Nilfgaard, I will laugh so hard that all the neighbors will run to call an ambulance to take me straight to the psychiatric hospital. In Cahir, gods, he just killed some elf friend of his to gain Emhyr's favor. Why the hell is he asking Ciri for forgiveness when he finds her? What is wrong with him at all? He is an absolute nothing of a character who always causes only disgust. And I could go on and on. I sincerely declare that almost everything that Netflix writers add to the movie from themselves, without being guided by the original work, almost everything turns out to be some kind of wild, strange hack work. Probably only the backstory of Yennefer explaining her suffering and transformation in the first season was really necessary. Because of what Vilgefortz did in the first season in the battle with Cahir, we cannot perceive him as a supervillain. Because of Cahir's idiotic storyline, we don't understand his sudden wild repentance or even his sympathy for Ciri. Because of the absolute idiocy in monoliths instead of the usual canonical portals, we don't understand what exactly works and how. Why did the monolith throw Ciri out into the desert somewhere? The book explains it very simply. In Tor Lara, the Tower of the Gull, there was an unstable portal that could throw her anywhere. Ciri activated it with her powers, and so it did what it had to do, throwing her out into the desert. And then there are these monoliths again, which I hate with a passion already. Some characters, like Istrid, were simply flushed out of the way. Stregobor's book, was it really necessary at all? And the elf named Dara is the most ridiculous and worst character in the history of cinema during all 3 seasons. He's simply no different from an empty space. The mere presence of such characters indicates a low quality of the show. In short, when you try to use logic and think a little, the show falls apart like a house of cards. Because often there are some events for the sake of events. Storylines appear just to be there. So here's my advice to you guys. Don't think, don't remember, don't draw parallels, don't try to find logic in the actions of the characters. Just watch, and maybe you will like things that happen on the screen. Conclusions: Henry Cavill and the death of the show. What do we have as a result? There was a battle on Thanedd. Redania's intelligence uncovered Vilgefortz, but Emperor Emhyr sent the Scoia'taels to help him. Tissaia de Vries rescued Vilgefortz from the hands of Dijkstra, who uncovered the villain sorcerer's connection to Nilfgaard, but Tissaia believed her lover and set him free. Good for her. And a second later, he betrayed her. Elves and wizards killed a bunch of each other. Nilfgaard started a war, Tissaia committed suicide, Cahir apologized to Ciri and wants to stop being an asshole. Vilgefortz beat Geralt in a beautiful style, as it should be, and almost killed him. Ciri fled to the Torlar Tower, where she somehow got to the Korath Desert through the monolith, and Vilgefortz's face was cut by the fragments of the monolith. Ciri barely survived in the desert. A unicorn helped her. Ciri was unable to master the magic of fire and completely gave up magic as a whole. She was caught by bounty hunters who wanted to take her to Emperor Emhyr. Meanwhile, the Emperor received another girl from the crippled Vilgefortz who looked very much like Ciri, and now everyone thinks that he has the Princess of Cintra captive. Ciri herself is freed from the thugs by young bandits who call themselves the Rats Gang. Spoiler alert, Ciri will join them in the next season. The beaten-up Geralt was rescued by Triss, and in Brokilon he was cured to the fullest. There's also the bard Dandelion and the archer Milva, a new character who's introduced to us in a very strange way. Together, these characters start the search of Ciri. We know that it's false Ciri, who just looks like the real Princess of Cintra. Yennefer, it seems, after the Battle of Thanedd, will create the Lodge of Sorceresses by herself. And Ciri? Anyways, Yennefer gave the honor of looking for Ciri to Geralt. Seriously, the horror. Of course, who else would create the Lodge of Sorceresses? Yennefer is a superwoman. She could destroy the entire enemy army by herself, just like in the first season. Anyway, that's a brief summary of the end of the 3rd season, and I will say that I'm not going to wait for the 4th season anymore. I've lost hope that Netflix's The Witcher will become something normal. Maybe I'll watch the coming season just to do a review for you guys. But the last drop is Henry Cavill. The whole show was based on him. No exaggeration. He was attractive in the posters. All the videos on YouTube about The Witcher show were made with his face in thumbnails. In the end, he got used to the role of Geralt well. He understood very well how exactly to act and what emotions to portray. He was one of the few reasons to keep watching the show. After Henry Cavill left the project, it makes no sense at all, because we don't have any more charismatic characters. That's right, think about it. Who got left? Cahir? Yennefer? Ciri? We have a lot of characters that have been flushed. The title of the 14th of the Hill was taken away from Triss. Tissaia was made to become a victim of unhappy love and betrayal. Istrid fell into some kind of portal. Cahir has one of the most idiotic storylines and motivations I've ever seen. And those who were brought to the forefront, Fringilla, Francesca, Yennefer, none of them have even a small piece of the charisma to stand out in such a project. So that's what I will say. Rest in peace, Netflix's The Witcher. Thank you for the good moments in Season 3, but you were terrible. I will not miss you. Go away and don't come back. I hope your next seasons are cancelled. On this cheerful note, the saga with the 3rd season of The Witcher show is coming to an end. What do you think of it? Be sure to write about it in the comments. Don't forget to like or dislike this video and subscribe to the channel. And see you soon for more awesome stories spoken by the old Witcher on the magnificent universe created by Mr. Sapkowski and CD Projekt Red.